Okay, guys, today what we're going to do is what we call double number lines. This is just another representation for our ratios. There is a major advantage to these, though, that we'll go over in just a little bit. So a double number line is a visual model used to compare ratios with two different units. Two horizontal lines are drawn with marks crossing both, with each number line numbered by its portion of the ratio. Okay? As usual, we will label it. And when we do our labels, we need to make sure that we define our variables. So, for example, we're calling this top one miles, the bottom one is hours. So I would label this M and H. And I would define my variable. I say M is the number of miles, and H is the number of hours. So here's where it's a little bit different. First off, on a double number line, most of the time we are going to start at 0, 0. So every once in a while, if you have a really big one, normally what you'll do is start at 0, 0. You do this little mark like this that shows that information is missing, and then do the leap to where you're going to start if you're doing the end of a set of data. But most of the time, we're just going to go straight on through. All you're doing, like the definition says, is I draw the two lines. So I'm going to draw this line, then I'll draw this line, then I start making the hashes across. The hashes are going to be just the entries from my ratio table. So in other words, my intervals are always going to be the same on the top. On the top, I'm going up by 60. On the bottom, I'm going up by 1. So if that were a ratio table, I would have to show that work. One nice thing on the double number line, you don't have to do that because your number line should be set up so that we can see you understand what those intervals are. All you're going to do is make sure that every entry from one side of the table is directly across from the entry on the other side. Bam, you're done. That's what a double number line is. Okay? Right in. Kaylee, you guys might want to pay attention. This gets pretty complex. Yes, JJ? Is there what? There is multiplying, and we're going to show you some of that multiplying in just a minute. Where did she move to sit where she can see? Ava, where'd you move to? Oh, she's right here. Okay, our next one, we've actually done this quite a bit. We're giving you the formal definition. That's defining your variables. Defining your variables, before assigning a variable, assign a label to it so you know what it represents. So, for example, in our double number line, I could say that X is miles, so this is X, Y is hours, so this would be Y. Normally, when you are doing a ratio table or a double number line, whichever one is listed first is X, whatever is listed second is Y. So this was listed on top, that makes this X, this is Y. If that was a ratio table, it would be the same in this type of format going to the right. If it's a ratio table going down, like this one down here, then your first column is X, your second column is Y. Okay? Get used to that because that's going to be for the rest of your mathematics career, basically. But we've already hit you guys a lot on assigning the variables, so hopefully you guys are getting used to that already. The other one we're going to talk about today, even though we won't be doing this till next class, is an equation. Equation is a mathematical sentence that includes an equal sign. Basically saying I have whatever's on the left side is equal to whatever on the right side. Makes it pretty simple. But if you think about it mathematically as a sentence, that's going to help you as we start doing these translations from English to math again. Yes, sir? Oh, that's funny. That's not even till, oh, that was 2 days ago. Okay. Building the equations from ratio tables is actually going to make more sense if you have a ratio table, so we're actually going to do the ratio table first. So we have this piece here. A recipe calls for 1 cup of white sugar and 3 cups of brown sugar. Make a table comparing them. So that's what we need to do is make a table. So what is the first thing I need to do when I make a table, JJ? Awesome. Label it. So what are my labels going to be in this case? Go ahead, JJ. I'm just going to use W and B, but remember to define our variables. So W is the number cups of white sugar, and B is the number of cups of brown sugar. Okay? Now, I have it labeled. What is my next step? What's going to be my first entry on this one? What do you think, Emma? 1, 2, 3. Is everybody good with that? So what would my next entry be? 2, 6. Then I would go, Sophie, 3 to 9. My next one, 4, 12. Good job. And my table would finish with, Tina, 5, 15. Okay, is everybody good with my table? Kaylee, did you have something to say on that one? Deanna, my apologies. Kaylee, my table's good? Yeah? Because I'm the teacher, I don't make mistakes, right? Krista, sometimes we do it intentionally, right? So like when I'm having everyone verify that I did my table correctly, so I can make a point about what your grade looks like when you get your quiz back. Because what didn't I do? Emma? I didn't show my work. So Emma at least gets a good grade on her quiz. The rest of you I'm now worried about. Because if you didn't show your work on the table, guess what, guys? You lost points. JJ? Okay. Yeah. No. Just 2. Because the 2 helps us, me and Mr. McShann, understand when we're grading it, that you understand the pattern. So if you make a math error, we can still give you partial credit because you understand what you were doing. You just made a math error. If you don't show your work and the numbers are wrong, it's all wrong. You get nothing. So it's actually designed to help you out. Unfortunately, several of you are kind of lazy and don't want to do anything extra. Wait, I don't know. Good, David. Good job. Now this should make more sense. So now that I have a ratio table, I can now build an equation out of this. It's actually pretty cool. What you're going to do is I'm going to determine which column I am solving for. You're going to use that variable and put it down by itself. So let's pretend I'm going to solve for brown sugar. So I'm going to put the brown sugar, the B, by itself, and then an equal sign. Okay? The other side of the equation will be the value from the column you're starting from, the value from the column I'm starting from. In other words, I go straight down. So what number do I see? 3 over the value from the other column. What value is that? 1 times the other variable, which is W. So can anybody see what this kind of looks like? What's that look like? Big smile, right? So building this equation, it's so easy. It should make you smile. That is a big hint, and it's actually a hint that we have included on the tests and quizzes going forward when you're going to be asked to do this. Because if you don't remember that it's so easy that it should make you smile, it can get really confusing as to what you do. But if you can remember the smile, this becomes really easy. Don't forget to simplify. 3 over 1 could become what? Emma? Did you have a comment or question, Emma? Yes. Yep. Yep. great question. It's almost like you listened to my lesson last time, because that's what we're going to do next. Let's say I want to solve for white sugar. How do I do that? Guys, it's the exact same process. Now, though, I'm going to start at the W. So I put the W by itself, equals, and I just reverse the smile. So now what's the first number I come to? 1. What's the second number I come to? 3. And then what's my other variable? B. Can I simplify that one any? No. So here's the value of the equation, guys. We can double check our equation. We can put some values in and see if it actually works out. So I say B equals 3W. So if my W is 1, and I put 1 in, what's 3 times 1? 3. Did B equal 3? Yes. If my W is 5, if I put 5 in for W, what's 3 times 5? 15. 3 times 5. I didn't say 2. It's the 3 right here, and I pointed to it, JJ. It's okay. It's on video. We can always replay it later. So 3 times 5 is 15. That's our entry. Why is this important? Because now, what if I ask you, how many cups of brown sugar can I get if I have 20 cups of white sugar? Do I have to extend this table all the way to 20 cups of white sugar? No. I can put 20 in for W. 3 times 20 is 60. Make sense? Don't tell me what. Oh, Miss McShan. Are you turning the students against me again? Oh, okay. Anybody? Now, this does go the other way, so let's check the other way. What if my B, my value for the brown sugar, was 9? If I put 9 in, how do I do 1/3 times 9? How do I do 1/3 times 9? 1/3 times 9. Who knows how to do that? Sean? Circle what number? Okay. Okay. Ladies, you probably want to be listening because we're going to be doing this very shortly. Okay. So technically, Alyssa said the same thing, divide 9 by 3. Ayana, my bad. Why am I doing that today? Ayana said the same thing initially. She said divide 9 by 3, which technically you are going to do because what am I doing? 1 times 9 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. So to simplify this, I now divide 9 by 3, which equals 3, which is what I expected to see. Make sense? Okay, any questions on, yes, JJ? Yep, 3 divided by 1 is 3. Is 1/3 the same as 3 over 1? This one worked out to 3 because I used the value of 9 for the browns. If I'd used a different value for the brown, it would not be 3 for white. Okay? So, unfortunately, we're not going to get more practice on this one until next week because today's lesson has gone long, and it's really important that you guys understand this. So, let's go to the other side of this page. Should already be on it. Guys, this is the side right with your notes. The amount of sugary beverages Americans consume is a leading health concern. For a given brand of cola, a 12-ounce serving of cola contains about 40 grams of sugar. Complete the ratio table using the given ratio to find equivalent ratios. So that's really our task, is complete the ratio. Now they pulled a trick on us. They gave us the middle value. Normally they start us out, right? But we're wanting to see, can you find equivalent ratios to both sides? So if my middle value was 12 over 40, what do you think the first value was? Yes. 4. How'd you get 4? Never mind.
I think you thought what you're simplifying by, but that's not what you're asking.
Sophie? 6 over. How did you get that? Okay, so good point. You could simplify all the way down by 4, but since they only gave us 3 entries and there's only 1 entry before this, I'm only going by 2 to see what they said the first entry was. So you are correct, though. I could have gone all the way down, divided them both by 4, and this one would simplify to 3 to 10, right? So good point. So here's where it's important to understand what my pattern is. So how do I go from 6 to 12? Plus 6, right? So how am I going to find my next entry? So 12 plus 6 gives me 40 plus 20 gives me. Is there anyone who struggles to do this piece on the filling out the ratio table still? Please be honest, because we've gone through this part pretty quick because Ms. McShannon and I felt it was pretty easy, and we had confidence in you guys. But if we need to slow down a little bit, we can. Everybody looks okay? Okay, so here's our next step. On today, now what we're going to do is we're going to take this ratio table, turn this into a double number line. I'm going to show you about how easy this is. So we have a 1-liter bottle of cola that contains approximately 34 fluid ounces. How many grams of sugar would be in a 1-liter bottle of the cola? Explain and show how to arrive at the answer. So here's our question. How many grams of sugar would be in a 1-liter bottle? Now, to build a double number line, step 1 is we just draw 2 number lines. Draw them parallel, right on top of each other. Okay? Don't forget to label them. So our label, I'm going to just use the C and the S, and we'll say the C is the ounces of cola, and S is the sugar in grams. Don't forget, be as specific as you can while you're defining your variables, meaning include units where possible. Once we have our double number lines, we've got them labeled. Now all we have to do is start putting in the intervals. So what interval did we say we're going to start our double number lines at? 0. So that's going to be one addition to our table. We normally don't do our table with the 0, 0, but because we're now doing number lines, having that 0, 0 is a good spot to begin. Then each line is literally going to be an entry from our table. So on our first entry, how much cola did we have? 6. How much sugar did we have? 20. So that first entry on our double number line looks just like our first entry from our table. Second one, same deal. 12, 40, 18, 60. Okay, that's where our table ends. Do I need to continue the table to build my double number line? Or can I just build it on the double number line? We can just build it off here, right? So what would my next entry be? 2480. Have I gotten to where I need to be yet? 34? Nope, so let's keep going. My next one's going to be 30, yep, thank you. 30, 100. Still not where we need to be. So then we go 36, 120. Have I gotten past 34? Yes. So now I've done my double number line long enough to get the number that I needed. So here is where the benefit to the double number line comes in. And that's when the number I'm looking for is in between the table entries from my ratio table. Because the ratio table just has 30 and 36. Doesn't really show me where 34 is, right? But on the double number line, I should be able to find that. So is 34 going to be on the top or on the bottom? Top, because it's talking about the cola, right? So we can now add in our intervals between 30 and 36. So I'm going to start in the middle as 33, 31, 32, 34, 35. Because if I have those, it should allow me to more accurately draw where 34 grams of sugar is. Now I just draw a straight line straight down from 34. The answer to my question lies right here. But how do I know what that number is? And no, guessing is not a good option, okay? All I need to do is start counting my spaces. How far did I go to get to 34? I went 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went 4 spaces out of how many spaces are there between 30 and 36? 4, 5, 6, or 6 spaces. Everybody good with that? So I went 4/6 of the way across that interval. That would simplify down to 2/3, correct? So is everybody following so far? Where I have drawn this line is 2/3 of the way between 30 and 36. Is there anybody that doesn't understand that? Sylvia. Hopefully. Okay, so Ms. McShann's going to talk to her directly on that one, since someone else is raising their hand. Now, here's the key factor. Here's where you got to make the link, guys. I now know this line is 2/3 of the way between 30 and 36. So I need the point that is 2/3 of the way between 100 and 120 to figure out what's right below it. Can everybody see that? Now, here's where the difference is. I know I want it 2/3 of the way, but my interval isn't 6, is it? What's my interval on the bottom? How far is it from 100 to 120? Yes. Is what? I don't want the answer. I want the interval between 100 and 120. How far is it from 100 to 120? So 100 plus 4 equals 120. 100 plus 4 equals 120. It's 20. 100 plus 20 equals 120. Yeah, it does. No, it was verifying that you understood it. So what I'm saying is I want to know the number that is 2/3 of the way across that interval of 20. So just as we talked about when you're writing down your notes, how do I multiply a fraction times a whole number? First step, I put the whole number over 1. Now I'm going to multiply. 2 times 20 equals 40. 3 times 1 equals 3. Now I need to turn this into a mixed number. So I do 40 divided by 3. That's going to go once. Minus 3 is 1, gives me a 10. 3 gives me a 9. So I have 1 left over. We don't do remainders anymore, though. So what do I do with that 1? Add it to what? So I make it 14? I make it a 1/3. This is my new numerator, guys. So in my mixed number, that 1 is now the new numerator, and I keep my denominator of 3. So what did we just say? To match the 34 between the 100 and 120, I need to go over 13 and 1/3 spots. So what number is 13 and 1/3 past 100? What do you think, Maddie? What number is 13 and 1/3 past 100? It's not hard, right? 100 plus 13 and 1/3. Okay? So this number right here is 113 and 1/3. So how many grams of sugar are there in 34 ounces of Coke? Oh, there's lunch. We basically finished the problem itself right before lunch. Now all we have to do is write our full sentence answer. So the question was how many grams of sugar would be in a liter. So the answer would be, there would be 113 1/3 grams of sugar. Okay, we're going to skip exercise 4. So turn the page, let's go to exercise 5. Because we said to. Because we got 20 minutes left. Guys, let's look on this one. We're going to start. Oops, sorry.
5. Guys, 1, we're videoing. 2, he's talking. Stop.
We're going to just do another ratio table. Again, we didn't give you a whole lot of practice. This will give you more practice on this. Chantel solves 3 math problems in 4 minutes. Use this information to complete the table below. So that's really our task, complete the table. So they did the first row for us on the number of questions. What does the number of minutes row look like? Emma? 4. Okay. So even though they did it for us, I'm still going to show the work on top so we can show that we understand what's going on. So 12, then we just keep going. 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, and 40. Any questions on these tables again, guys? Pretty simple, right? Now we're going to use this information for our next piece. So Chantel has soccer practice on Thursday evening. She has a half hour before practice to work on her math homework and to talk to her friends. She has 20 math skill work questions for homework, and she wants to complete them before talking with her friends. How many minutes will Chantel have left after completing her math homework to talk to her friends? So there's our question. How much will she have left is really the big question. Use a double number line diagram to support your answer. So they gave us a specific task, didn't they? So if it's for a quiz and you gave us a ratio table to answer this question, would you get full credit? No. Would you get partial credit? If you got the right answer, we'd give you partial credit, but by not doing what we said, you're definitely not getting an A on it. So again, our double number line is literally just taking that ratio table, switching it to a number line. So you just draw your 2 lines parallel, so they're basically the same distance away from each other. Label them, because we always label, right? So I'm going to break this down. I'm going to choose Q and M. So Q is the number of minutes. So we're defining our variables. Or, you're right. Q is the number of questions. If I just wanted to switch it, I could. Number of questions. And M is the number of minutes. Of course, if I did switch it, I'd be totally messed up the whole time, so I'm not going to do that to myself. So yes, Q is the number of questions, M is the number of minutes. Where does our number line start? At 0. Our next interval is 3, 4. Our next interval, 6, 8. 9, 12. How far do I need to go? 12, 16. Till what? Good. 15, 20, 18, 24, and 21, 28. Okay, so we had to get past 20 questions, right? Because she has 20 questions she has to finish. So if we're going to figure this out, now we're going to look at this top interval. Where is 20 between 18 and 21? We can add in the extra ticks. There would be 19. There would be 20. So 20 should be right about there. Is everybody okay with that? Anybody not see that 20 is between 18 and 21? Okay. Our next step is figuring out how far in between those two it is. So, in other words, how many intervals? Well, if I count over, it's 1, 2 intervals to get to the 20. out of 3 intervals between 18 and 21. Correct? So it's 2/3 of the way across. To keep it proportional, to keep the ratio constant, that means that this point down here that I'm trying to find is 2/3 of the way between 24 and 28, correct? So how far is that distance? What's the distance between 24 and 28, Andrew? How far is it between them? 4. So I want to know what spot is 2/3 of the way to 4. So I multiply them. Remember, when I do a whole number, I have to put it over 1. Then I just multiply. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 goes into 8 twice with 2 left over. Who doesn't understand where that 2 2/3 came from? Thank you for being honest, 2 of you. So everybody else, 3 of you. Everybody else understands? Oh, the dot is multiplication. Thank you. Guys, we're getting into variables. The most commonly used variable is x. So at some point, I thought we had already done it. We're going to get away from the x, and we're going to start using dot to show multiplication. But that dot just means we're multiplying the 2. Emma? The 4 was the distance from 24 to 28, because I need to figure out where this spot is down here. I know it's 2/3 of the way between them, because the line on the top was 2/3 of the way across. Okay? So because it's 2/3 of the way across on top, it's also 2/3 of the way across on the bottom. I just don't know how far that is because my interval is different. If the intervals were the same, then it'd be easy, because then it would have just been 2 past that. But because my intervals are different, I have to do it by 2/3 to figure out exactly where that spot is. Okay? Yes? 2/3 by looking at the top and saying, where is 20 in relationship between 18 and 21? How far over was that line? So from 18, I had to go over 2 out of the 3 spaces that are between 18 and 21. Okay? So everybody else is okay on this at this point? Now, why the 4? Because the 4 is that distance between 28 and 24 and 28. So I had to figure out 2/3 of the way across that interval. How far is that? Well, it's 2 2/3. So now I need to figure out what that actual number is. So I know it's 2 2/3 of the way across on this line. I started at 24. So Wesley, that means that point is where? Good. 26 2/3. So all he did was he took the number that we found, how far across that interval it was, from where we started. In this case, we started at 24, meaning it's at 26 2/3. So now we go back to the question. How many minutes will Chantel have left after completing her math homework? How long does she have to do her homework? Half an hour or 30 minutes, right? So she has 30 minutes. How long is it going to take her to do her math homework? "26 2/3 minutes. Actually, I love Ayana already did the transition for us. 26 2/3 minutes is how many seconds? 40 seconds. So it's going to take her 26 minutes and 40 seconds. So how much time is she going to have left? 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So Chantel will have 3 minutes, 20 seconds left to talk. So that is all of our practice for today. So we did cut the homework down because of the fire drill this morning. So we're not doing that second section today. We'll pick that up next time. So let's go straight to your homework, page 49. Okay, page 49. Again, marking your text. As many times as we have said this, I can't believe I still have to, but we still have a number of you who are refusing to mark your text. This is one that's going to be really critical because you've got a lot of information here that you have to break down and understand. So our first part, while shopping, Kyla found a dress that she would like to purchase, but it costs $52.25 more than she has. Kyla charges $5.50 an hour for babysitting. She wants to figure out how many hours she must babysit to earn $52.25 to buy the dress. So that is our question, how many hours she must babysit to earn $52.25. Now, they did give us additional piece here, right? Use a double number line to support your answer. So you must have a double number line. The part that throws the students off the most on this one is they get focused on the numbers and forget what they're comparing. So what is it she actually needs to know? Andrew? Inside the hours. So what are the two things she is comparing? The hours and the dollars. So the two lines on your double number line are dollars and hours. Big hint. Okay? Once you find the interval, what's my first entry going to be for this one, guys? 0, 0. What's my second entry going to be? $558 and 1 on the dollars. Or 1 on the hours, sorry. And then you're just going to keep going until your dollars piece gets past $52.25. I'll give you a hint. It's going to be halfway between two intervals, so that's a huge hint. Number 2, Frank's been driving at a constant speed of for 3 hours, during which time he traveled 195 miles. Frank would like to know how long it will take him to complete the remaining 455 miles, assuming he maintains the same constant speed. Help Frank determine how long the remainder of the trip will take. So here's our big one. Determine how long the remainder of the trip will take. Include a table or diagram to support your answer. So do I have to use a double number line? Nope. I will give you a hint. It's actually really easy. The other option, though, doing a table on this one wouldn't be so bad. Huge hint. If you decide to do a table, you're going to need to simplify the first entry in order to figure out where that 455 lies in your table. But if you simplify it and build it off the simplified table, you'll get straight to the answer. Any questions on your homework? Yes, Emma? So since this was on the video, I'll go ahead and start the double number line for you guys. It's going to be dollars and hours. So D is dollars. Actually, I should probably use D and not the dollar sign. And H is going to be number of hours. So my first entry, did the arrow on the wrong one. The arrows are on this one. First entry, 0, 0. My next entry, how many dollars does she make per hour? $5.50 in 1 hour. My next entry is going to be $11 in 2 hours. And that's going to keep going. I'll give you a hint. The last interval you'll have to have is 55. So that'll be the interval right past 52. Okay? So if you build this to $55, then you'll figure out where that interval is that you need to be at. Okay? So lots of help for you guys. Hopefully you guys will be able to do this one pretty easily.